Cool.
Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
This is Martin.
Ken.
Is also here.
And the French love affair.
Martial.
Ellen.
Welcome in the green room.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome,
We're excited.
welcome.
We're excited to hear about your fun love story
Cheers.
and your fun lives. And cheers.
And
First
drink
off,
some French
first
wine.
and foremost.
Yes.
Sauté.
Wait, where's his glass?
I don't drink.
He doesn't
A
drink.
Frenchman
Does
doesn't
not
drink.
So he doesn't drink. He doesn't
Interesting.
smoke.
We need to hear why. Just because
He
you want to be
doesn't cook.
healthy, or
But
What do you do?
I do a lot of sex. Look how happy she is. It's working.
Unfortunately, it's for health reasons.
oh, okay. Well, really, drinking is a big health concern if you don't control it. So it's really healthy and smart of you to do that. So I try to avoid it at least like 5 nights a week. I only drink like 1 or 2, so I'm pretty responsible, especially for somebody in their 20s.
Right,
Well,
right.
job.
Well, we want to hear your story.
Alright.
Everything you say to us just
Well,
makes us
Kinga,
laugh.
how did you meet
Oh.
them? Let's start there for the
Yeah.
audience. How did you
Okay.
meet these two lovers?
We were at a
Okay.
bar
No.
Yes, at a bar.
eating.
Eating. And Kinga just struck up a conversation
Imagine
with a stranger?
that. So they were sitting
No.
across the table from us
Yeah.
at the community table.
At
Nice.
Houston. At Houston.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
I
right.
came up and I said, "Oh, can we
It's
sit
busy,
here?" And they said, "Oh, sure." And they just looked really nice and fun, and we just
No, how did
started
you say
chatting.
How did you say it?
I would say that
did you
Kinga
welcome?
looked at me and fell in love. And I say, I'm sorry.
I'm already taken.
Married.
That's right.
And Ellen was
No, her eyes
smiling.
do work, you know.
Next life.
That was good, Chet.
All
Chet
right.
said my eyes work.
There you go. There you go. All right. So you guys met, and then you just started chit chatting, and you discovered they had an amazing
Love story.
love story.
Absolutely.
If you know Kinga,
Yeah.
it was a great long interview, starting from birth all the way to the present day.
It was.
I
So
say.
tell us the story.
Well, I guess the story starts back in 1985. I was a student in college living in Luxembourg, and I was traveling every weekend with all my friends all over Europe. And then I kind of got tired of all the travel. So
A little louder.
I decided
Closer
to
to the-
hang out with the locals.
To the peak.
And that was where I met this guy.
And he was a local in Luxembourg.
He was from France, right
Okay.
over the border, about
Right.
a half an hour away. So a friend of his was dating a friend of mine, and we got introduced.
Okay, now
So why
Marty
were
has
you-
to tell the rest.
I was
Marty.
gonna say, why were you in Luxembourg?
I spent my junior year there.
So now
College
we want to hear
study.
Marty's version. Marty.
My version is I saw her and I decided to
Go
well,
for it.
to ask her out. We went to a club and we had a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
And I fell in love a week after that.
Why did it
Nice.
take a
Took you a
week?
week.
Because
He's very discerning.
Well,
That's why.
that first night, one thing led to another. I was an American in Europe. Things
Okay.
happen.
Things happen. All right.
So what happened?
So it was like a one night stand potentially,
yes.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
and then.
Didn't think I'd ever see him again.
Oh, really?
And then a
okay.
week later, I saw him in a club.
Really?
Oh, you ran into him?
Yeah. Was
Oh.
dancing in a club.
Nice. Nice.
And I saw a friend telling her, "Oh, I see Martial." And
Martial.
And she turned around and she looked at me and then she went like this.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Oh,
Martial.
yeah,
Eyes
relax.
down, I said, okay, she's a good girl.
Oh,
That's right. That
So-
American prudishness just
Yes,
took right over.
exactly.
Midwest.
Midwest, Cincinnati.
Oh, born and raised. I get it. I totally get it.
And then-
We're very repressed.
Yes.
Martial, what happened next?
Then we dated for about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
She had to go back to the States
Okay.
for a wedding.
Well, that was in April that we met. I went
Yeah.
back in July.
April 15, almost 3.
We traveled. We went to the south of France.
Yeah, we did a lot.
Right. So much you
We
can't
had to
remember.
backpedal because of the sex, the first night.
Yeah.
So
You
To
got
get
to
to
meet
know
her
each other.
afterwards.
it was a little weird for 2 weeks.
Oh, so you
but-
had sex the first night?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Right. And
I
then
didn't
they were like,
realize
oh, we got to get to know each other.
that. And this
Do
is
I even like
35
you?
years later. 35 years later, you guys are together.
36 years together.
Yeah,
36 years
33
together.
married.
hmm
So how, Martial, did you not give up? Because at one point she dumped you. Will you tell? Will you
You're jumping
tell us?
so far
Well,
ahead.
She is
I
You
jumping
are
ahead.
so far ahead.
Well, I
All
want-
Plot
The
twist.
show's gonna be over.
I know.
Well, I want to backtrack, but tell us the story.
So yeah, I had to actually go back to the States after my year of school was done. So that was in July, and he was so upset to see me go that 2 months later he came and visited for 6 weeks.
Okay.
You know how it is in Europe; they actually get vacation, 6 weeks at a time, maybe.
That's a.
And where were
I don't
you
even
from
think
in the
I've ever had a
It's a
6 week
novel
vacation.
concept.
It is a novel.
Where were you
concept.
from in the
Called
Midwest again?
unemployment.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so what was it like going from Luxembourg to Ohio?
It was quite different.
In some ways, because actually, landscape-wise,
Landscape-wise,
it
yes,
looks like just where he lives in France.
Oh, really?
It look-
But
Okay,
the
yeah.
part we
Farming,
didn't even say is he's
rural.
from Paris. He's a Frenchman from Paris, and he's a
No,
nurse.
he's
He
from,
was a nurse.
He's from Metz. In Paris,
Metz,
they would call him a
3 hours
redneck.
east.
Oh,
Or
redneck.
Bosch,
Oh.
German, because that used to be part of Germany.
Okay.
Alsace-Lorraine went back and forth, so 3 hours east of Paris,
Oh,
right by
okay,
Belgium,
okay.
Luxembourg, and Germany.
Not speaking real
So the
formal
Apache
French.
Junction of.
Yeah, not quite.
Paris.
Paris
I'm just
far
trying to let our
east.
listeners know what they're.
Far east suburbs of Paris, yes.
I don't know if I'd go that far. But...
So
Maybe
3
Queen
hours.
Creek.
did you speak French at the time? Were you taking French in school?
I was taking French in school. I was not fluent. In Luxembourg, everybody speaks fluent English,
Mhm.
fluent French, fluent German, everything. So,
Okay.
They're amazing, right? They
yeah, so you
lots
speak
of
French and they'd answer you in English. So
Right.
it wasn't until I met Martial and his family who spoke French and exclusively slang that I didn't know. So
So there's the French language, and then there's this slang language.
the way the real people speak.
The ra-
yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
right, kind of
Nice.
like.
Not textbook French.
Okay, all right.
95% of people will speak like my parents.
Okay,
Which
gotcha.
is fast and with cutting words to.
Oh, shortening words.
And,
like
and your families, your
shortcut.
parents were both opposites. Like your family was quiet. And tell us a little
Oh,
bit about
yeah.
his family.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, they're
Midwest.
French and Italian minor. I'm German and Scandinavian, highly repressed,
Right.
Midwestern.
Wasn't
stuff.
it early on that you took her to your parents' house?
Yes.
All right, so tell
Tell
a
that
little bit
story.
of
How did
that,
that
that
go,
one
yeah?
cracked me
That
up.
one fun.
He didn't tell
That
me
one
he
was
lived
fun.
at home.
Okay,
with his
well,
parents.
I wouldn't
didn't
have told
know,
you
I
either.
didn't know that.
I was a loser at that time.
No, you were a nurse.
So after.
You were saving lives.
that's
Yeah, but
Weren't
that
you-
was, that's
I
where how
mean-
it was back then.
But
After,
you,
yeah.
Yeah.
you were
After you're-
27. You were saving lives. You were a nurse.
I
Yeah.
did save
That's
a lot of
not.
lives.
That's not. That's a
I
hero.
saved her life.
Took 36
Obviously.
years.
36 years. So after 1 week of knowing her, when I saw her the next week on Saturday,
Late night at the clubs.
I kidnapped her.
Okay.
I brought her back home to my parents.
Okay.
So we have to remind that this is before the European community, when you had to cross the border and there were border guards.
You had different
I had
currencies.
no passport or anything, and he
So
just,
you're freaking out.
I'm like, what are we doing? Where are we
Right,
going?
right.
6:30 a.m. We
Right.
got home. My dad, of course, hears some noise. What's going on? I said, Dad, I'm with a friend. Oh, no. I said, Dad, it's serious. Oh, that's it. Because
Okay.
I brought girl before and it
Right,
was
right,
just,
right.
And then my mom wake up and she didn't want to go in bed with me. She wanted to sleep alone. So my mom said, no, you cannot leave this poor little American alone.
So your mom's chilling for you.
She was good for that. I wouldn't say next morning because we arrive at 6:30.
Right.
So at noon we go down to eat, and of course I asked my parents, did Ellen make too much noise last night? And she was all red.
Oh yes,
Was
that Midwestern girl just
Oh my God, she was-
freaking out.
Scandinavian and the
He's
German
worked all
would
that
not.
red right out of me.
Oh man, I was pushing and pushing on this. So,
Right.
and that's it. My parents knew I was serious,
Mm-hmm.
and she was very.
So for the next few months, we were together exclusively till I had to go back to Ohio.
But
So
you-
21
So
and
then
27.
you go back to Ohio.
21 and 27.
27,
Right.
21 and
27 and 21.
All right.
Okay.
But she was very surprised by my family because my parents are
Volatile.
yeller. They
Oh,
yell.
yeah,
They
the
yell.
yells, yeah.
It was a very volatile
And
relationship.
the first thing
right.
she said, your dad doesn't like me. I said, why? He's yelling. I said, no, he's not yelling. He's talking.
That's just how he talks. Yes.
That is how they talk.
Yes.
But I understood what? 3 months later, when I came to America and I met her family, nobody talks.
You were on vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I came on vacation. Everybody sitting at the table. We were what, 10 people?
Yeah, yeah.
With your brothers.
And nobody's
Nobody talk. It's
Boring.
like, oh my God.
Was it a
I
little
said,
boring?
For me, yes.
Compared to his family,
Yeah,
yeah.
So
yeah.
then I look at her, I say, I understand why you were freaked out by my parents, because her parents are very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk about my parents.
So stoic. They were very
They are
stoic.
both dead now, so her dad
My
is still
dad's still
alive.
here.
So he cannot watch, he cannot
No.
listen to it.
But you were close with your parents. I know you
Oh,
already
yeah,
told
very
us that.
close,
Very
yeah.
close.
I'm
Very
guessing he's not gonna find this.
Probably not in his podcast selection.
No.
I hope
I
so.
actually had to explain a podcast.
Yeah,
to
that's
him
what I
last
was
week.
thinking. That's what I was kind of
I think he probably would have had a heart attack finding out about the one night stand. already. So,
Yeah.
I don't think he would have made it this far.
That's right. All right, so you go back to the States, you visit for 6 weeks, then you go back,
Right.
and then you send letters apparently.
Every day, yeah.
Every
Every
day.
day.
Letters
So-
every day.
And
Listen,
every,
It's like the
listen to
Notebook.
that, guys.
It
That's
is.
right.
Pre-text, pre-emails.
That's
I
right.
got letters every day.
phone
We
was
talked on the
old
phone
fashioned.
every night.
In broken English.
Phone every day and letters every day. So how long were the letters?
Usually a couple pages long. Sometimes
Wow.
five
Were
pages
they
long.
were they salacious?
Oh yeah, everything.
Oh, you need a new word.
so he says, I don't even
It's too
understand.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
what's
four
some of
shows
the
in a
things-
row.
Hold on, was
I
he,
know.
was he
We need a
tenacious?
new word.
I mean, things
Was he
like-
Was he tenacious?
You're my very. You're my
Was
right
he
Was
arm.
he, was he spacious?
And I also did some
Was he gracious?
gracious.
Did he have a voracious
I did
appetite
some tape.
for lust?
Oh yeah. Remember back when your boyfriend would make you a mixtape?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Right.
I
Yes.
send her so
He
many.
made me all these mixtapes. Spent
Oh,
hours
nice.
making those.
So was it American music, French music, both?
Everything.
Combination.
Everything?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She didn't know
Wow.
anything about.
And so at the time, were you
music.
like totally digging it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was ready for him to move over here. I
Oh,
was
so you were
fully-
ready.
I
Okay.
was
You were.
ready.
Okay.
Oh.
Until
Okay,
she
and-
wasn't.
Until she wasn't.
Until you
Wait, you're
showed up.
skipping ahead. Hold on.
Let's not forget, I was 21.
Until she dumped him.
Hold on. Stop
Okay,
spoiling
okay,
the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
We totally planned for him to come. So
Okay.
he quit his job. He sold everything. He
As a
owned.
nurse. As a nurse.
As a
Yeah.
nurse in France, he showed up with 5 suitcases. And I think even just the visual of seeing him there with the 5 suitcases, I started to freak out.
Right.
I felt very responsible for him and leaving everything for
right.
me.
Oh my God, you left the country for me.
So I
And
broke up
21's
with
really
him.
young. I mean, 21, that's you're
Does it
really
freak you out a
young.
little bit?
Yeah.
So why was the decision for him to move to Ohio over you moving to Europe? Did you guys prefer the Puritan,
no.
quiet culture?
Not at all. I still had 2 years of school left.
Oh, okay.
He was
That makes
older
sense.
and he already was working
Oh,
full
okay.
time, so I was not in a
So it's
position
easier for
yet.
him to move. Yeah.
And his
Okay.
dad said, "Go do it."
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
did
because-
give him a blessing. He'd go for the love.
Yeah.
And her parents were a little bit. Were they a little bit?
Not
A
ready
little bit
for any of it.
controlling?
Yeah,
Were they a little bit
a lot,
controlling?
a lot.
Like
A
the
little bit
movie
controlling?
Green Card.
lot.
She
A lot,
might be
a
too
lot
young to have
controlling.
seen,
Well,
but it was like that.
That was
They're as
a great
conservative
movie.
as they sound. They're probably like, oh, she's gonna wait till marriage and all that.
Well, no, you just
stuff.
missed.
Yeah.
He just said they were
Green
extremely
card. They were
controlling.
afraid of the green card.
Oh yeah.
I came
Oh.
for the green card.
Well, no, they were conservative, and yet my mom's issue was that I hadn't dated enough to even know what I wanted because she
And was she
got married
concerned?
older. So
Was she concerned he was just a nurse?
That was part of it. That he was
'Cause you-
French. Why was he coming here? Was this just for the green card?
Because you had already said that, and I think nurses are amazing.
She
Exactly.
never asked if I was good in bed.
Maybe.
I bet they didn't ask that.
That would be
before.
important.
That
Tell
should
me,
be
how
important.
is
Although
he
my
in
grandma
bed?
thought you were probably.
Her grandma, yeah. Her grandma,
the best.
but she died at 104. She was about 90,
She was in her 90s.
98.
Wow.
Martial, you look like a good lover.
You're like, score!
Everybody was surprised.
Right out of her
She never
Puritan
told me.
upbringing. Boom.
She liked me.
Yeah, she did.
That was grandma. That's really cute.
Thank you, Grandma Mabel.
So can we say a toast? I need a little more
Cheers.
wine.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers,
Cheers.
cheers. Cheers to love and
It's love,
to persistence.
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 All right, I'm going to butcher this, so if you guys can pronounce that. Drink
Oh,
up.
that's smart. Okay.
Bon du Chateau.
Bon de
Premier
Chateau.
cru.
There we are.
So how long
Very
was the
lovely.
period of rejection then? Like,
Not
'cause-
that long.
Okay.
He took off. He went to LA. He traveled a little
She
bit.
dumped me like a.
Like a hot
What
potato.
did she say? How did she dump you? What did she say?
Oh, too stressful. I cannot handle this. And lucky for me, I let go. And I said,
How
okay.
did you look up? What did you
Which
do?
is
I
so
just say
unlike
okay,
him.
and I got a ticket, and I went to Los Angeles for
Well, you know, honestly, what were you thinking?
bitch. I
Ah!
was thinking,
Not beach, not beach.
I left it all for you.
There's a story there.
First, I say, what about this letter? When you say only 10 days before you come, and this one, in 5 days you will be here. I love you.
And then, holy shit, you're here.
And
What are you doing
the
here?
5 suitcases were too much.
So was it that were you dating somebody else?
No, I was just,
Oh,
I
you're
just
kidding.
was freaked out. I felt very responsible for him leaving everything. I'm like, what if this doesn't work? And
That
I made
Midwestern
him do
guilt
it.
just.
And
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
parents didn't approve.
They did not approve.
Okay.
No.
And so then that's why he went
No,
back to
well,
school
well,
to become
you
a
said
wealthy
that they
financial.
liked you when you were visiting, but
Oh,
when
yeah.
you moved there,
Yeah, yeah.
they didn't. So
When
that
I came
little-
for a month and a half, they loved me. Come on in, give me a hug. And then when I came back, I said, I'm moving in.
A little colder reception.
I didn't know what Thanksgiving was. But I learned real fast when they didn't invite me.
Oh,
Really?
That's
Oh, yeah.
No.
They didn't invite me. I
That's
was,
the
They weren't
long,
very-
What?
quiet
Yeah.
way.
That's right.
that
They didn't
was.
invite you for Thanksgiving?
No,
How long were you here in the States without them inviting
I
you?
arrived in March.
You came in March, and that was the
Oh,
So you were still here
November.
for 6
Think.
months.
Oh,
Think about it.
wow.
And then,
Wow.
of course, I learned about Thanksgiving. People, oh yes, that's family together. Everybody eats a turkey. And I said, the bastard didn't invite me.
Oh,
How
okay.
thankful
So
is
she
that?
was trying to play both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's
might have
hard.
thought you were
Thanks.
gonna stuff the turkey in another way.
Oh, yeah.
How much you talk about?
All right, so you go to LA for a little while, but then you start talking to each other.
Yeah, so he was there, and then he realized, well, he was looking for jobs. You should talk about that. You look
Yeah.
for jobs in LA.
I was crying every interview.
Did you
Oh,
did you
that's
go
right.
did you go try to date somebody else in
No,
LA?
no, for me,
No,
I'm
okay.
one track.
Okay.
Yeah, you said at
Okay.
lunch that you went to the 6 best
Yeah.
French restaurants in
Laurent
town,
Gary.
and by the end of the interview, you were crying
Yeah,
about
but
her.
they would ask me, why are you in Los
here?
Angeles?
Oh, it's because of this girl.
I don't know if I had pictures at that time because there were no phones. But
You probably had nobody else to vent to. It was, it started as a job interview, it ended as a therapy
Therapy
session.
said it. It's like,
And who is this
I hope
weirdo?
you're okay, but you are not hired.
no job for you. So then I decided to go back.
Yeah.
I
So how long
found-
were you in LA? 1 week?
1 week.
1 week. Okay.
Then I went back to Cincinnati. I met a guy who was in school with her who said, hey, when you come, call me if I have a place. So I called him. They had a room for me, so I rented a room.
Right?
I bought a phone, my first cordless phone, and I called her and I said, here is my number. Call me when you want to see me.
Nice.
And that
So
was
you
it.
played
That was it.
You played it very cool.
He said he would not call me. He just said, I just want you to know this is where I am. I'm doing fine. I'm not going to bother you.
I
And
was
so what did and
You
And then
started
what
that
happened?
approach? What did that make you do?
It was just the right
It
thing
was
to
the
do.
right thing. Because if you would have been too clingy,
Oh,
right,
yeah,
you would
yeah.
probably ran.
Yeah.
Well, and this is what the listeners should listen to closely because
Yes.
there's a fine line between being chasing properly and then being creepy and clingy, like you were saying. And
Very
it's,
true.
It's a fine line. You
I've
need to
been
have-
both.
Yeah.
and I like both.
together.
I'm a super
But your way
independent-
lasts longer.
So I have no issue with that because I'm a super independent person. So I've never had an issue with that. But I have friends where they've been like really clingy at portions of their relationship. Where I'm like, yo, you need to give her some space. You shouldn't be driving around her place all night. Like,
Well, I had a roommate.
What?
Yeah.
I had a roommate that is on first dates. He would ask girls to marry him.
Oh, my
On first
My
dates.
dad did
Not
that to
more than
her.
once.
That's weird as hell.
Actually, on my second date, he asked me to marry him.
That's weird as hell.
And I said, well, you don't really know me that well, but I understand. And
I understand why you want to marry me. Yeah. She was
get
very
that.
humble back then.
No.
Nothing's changed.
No. I didn't mean I understand. Like I know I want
I
to marry
know,
me.
I'm-
I understand because I feel it too.
Oh, I see.
But I said, we'll see.
I see.
You don't know me that well. That's because I felt
Right.
it. I felt it too.
I think you had it more correct.
Yeah.
And we had a great marriage, your dad and I, for many, many years. And
Hey.
yeah, exactly. And raised 2 great kids, and everyone's happy, so it's all good.
Exactly.
So,
It's all
It's all
part
good.
of the
Yes.
part of the wheel of life, right?
yes,
Exactly.
it is.
All right,
It is.
so
eventually
we're
you
back
did
to
get married.
Cincinnati. Wait, we're back in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
This is good.
And
This
you're
is good.
just back from LA. You're like, ooh, this guy's playing it cool. You're digging it.
He's getting it together.
All right, he's
doing
got
his
it
thing.
together.
This is
And
good.
so then you're
I like
talking.
it.
Now
You're
you're
talking
chasing
on the
him.
phone because
Yeah.
he bought a phone specifically to terrorize you. I mean,
No, she started chasing him.
I know that's
Yeah.
that's
Because he
brilliant.
had that
man.
independence. He was
Right.
still pursuing her a little bit, but still being independent.
I,
the
man,
second you
I
cross
should have
over
studied
the,
more French.
Yeah, like
I
he
just
did
should've.
not call. So he
She
just gave
called
me the
him.
number
So
and
he
then
played
I
it.
called him.
yeah, he created the demand.
Mhm.
If there's too much supply, then there's going to be no demand.
Yeah, exactly. The law of diminishing supply and return. I mean, I know there's books written about this.
Yeah,
Oh, well, we could call it creating the demand.
There
Oh, I
we
like
go.
that.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
All
a good
right,
one.
so then you
creating the
guys
demand.
started talking, and then you guys you lived an hour and a half.
So that
apart.
was kind of long distance, a little
Right.
bit, hour and a half away while I was finishing school.
Yeah.
He would come to see me on weekends, and then I would go to see him. And
Right.
But did you kiss the first time you saw each other?
oh yeah, well,
Oh.
more than kiss.
More
but
Did you have
yeah.
sex the first time you saw
Don't
each
you
other?
remember
Yeah.
that first date?
We were. That was good.
That was not a problem.
All right. So that happens, and then all right. So you're an hour and a half away, and how long does that last?
So that was about a year and a half, maybe. I know
So a
when.
year and a half. So
He-
you're in the
he-
long haul.
So here's the
Oh.
thing. He was persistent.
Here
and
is
then
my proposal.
He
Okay,
He never
okay.
like got down on a knee and said, "Will you
Right.
marry me?" It had to last for at least a year that he would just say in French. He would say, "When are we getting married? When are we getting married?" And I'd be like, "Let's
How do
not
you say
talk
that in
about
French?
this."
Say it
now."
in French.
Quand est-ce qu'on se marie? On se marie quand?
Okay.
Say
Je
it
veux
one
mar-
more time. I like
Je
it.
veux me marier. On se marie? On se marie?
So he kind and I'd be like, "I'm not ready to talk about that. Let's put it off." But as soon as I finished school, I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
So 3 months later, not 1 year like everybody now, we got
Yeah.
married.
Okay.
We didn't live.
September.
We didn't live together before we got married.
Right.
September
Oh,
10,
hold on. You
88.
did not live together before you got married.
No.
No.
Where did you live? With your parents? Or
Yeah.
where-
Well, for 3 months.
Well, our
Okay.
parents are so conservative, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but you just finished school.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, I was looking
Right
for a
there.
job, and yeah, it was.
And
Right.
did you go to your parents and say, "Hey, Mom, Dad, we're getting married"? I know at one point
Yeah.
you told them if they. You tell the story.
Well, at this point, they knew it was inevitable because I
Right.
had already, after the Thanksgiving fiasco,
Oh, you
yeah.
set them down.
I had given them the ultimatum saying,
Tell us.
don't make me choose.
Right.
Like,
Because I'm going to choose my French boy.
Well, I didn't say that, but they knew that was the case.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they wouldn't have a relationship with me. So by this time they had come around, they knew we were going to get married.
still
They were on board.
Mhm.
Yes, they did.
They,
They
still
were on
did,
board.
they still didn't like me.
Yeah.
He said
They just didn't love you yet.
they started loving you when you had the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
8 years after we
By the
got
way, that
married.
was
Yeah.
8 years after the wedding.
Took them a little bit to
It happens. It happens.
You're hard to get to know.
Norwegian. They are Norwegian and Swedish. So.
No, but this is the better.
Oh,
Everybody
the
waits to get
Norwegians
married
and the
now.
Swedes, man,
I got
they're-
married young at 23.
we think Americans
We
are
had plenty of
repressed.
time. We had lots of fun before we had kids.
Oh yeah.
So you had 8 years of fun. So what did you guys do in that 8 years?
We just traveled. We had a good time.
So what was the favorite place that you traveled that you can remember right off the spot, top of the head?
France.
Yeah, we went back to France a lot. Went to Italy.
Monaco, south
Oh,
of France.
He has a
Monaco,
friend
yeah.
who lives in the south of France.
Oh.
And I think it's really cute. He's gone every year to see his parents until they passed
Oh, yeah.
away.
At least 1 year or one time, sometime 2 times.
2 times. He always
That's
went.
impressive because that flight
Yeah.
it takes a lot out
Oh,
of
yeah.
you.
It is long.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's
So
at
sometimes
least a
she didn't
2-day
go.
recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They mostly went together, but sometimes she couldn't go or didn't want to go,
Right.
and so he went by himself
Well, yeah,
to see his parents.
People always think there's like the green
That's
card
a good guy.
involved. It's like he would not have moved here if it wasn't for me because he needed to go home every year and touch French soil,
Mm-hmm.
reconnect
Eat some
with
real
everything,
French food.
eat some real food. I mean, he loved going home and seeing his
And your
family.
dad was a good French cook, so
Oh,
I've heard.
yes.
Yeah.
He was good.
And there is a difference. There's a difference between that food and this food. It's hard to explain.
We
The
all-
butter.
The butter is the key.
Some butter.
Sauce.
I came here, I was 165 pounds,
Hmm.
and now I'm 215.
that's the American
That's America.
way. That's right.
Almost twice as good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
And did he dress really French style when he first came
Oh,
here?
that's
He
right.
dressed very French. He had this is 80s. He had the big baggy pants with the pleats, and the gay guys were hitting on him all the
Oh.
time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had
And
it.
how did you handle that?
One guy came in a club with a little note and said, "Call me whenever you want." And I look at him and I say, "I will." And then I call Helen. Helen, come here.
Help me out.
They're
Help me
attacking
out.
me. They really like me.
Yes.
Are you
yes.
sure he doesn't go both ways?
Well, I did have a moment where I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah, that was in Luxembourg.
Back in Luxembourg, in the 80s, by the way, in Luxembourg, it was very in. It was in to be bisexual.
Okay.
Even if you weren't, people acted like they
Right,
were.
right.
Crazy, right?
It's still in, by
It's
the way.
still in. And we were actually at a gay club, after hours
Gross.
club, because they were open all night. And I'm sitting with
Oh,
him,
Marshall.
and one of the guys who works there, who had always had a crush on him, he comes over and he literally takes his face,
And
he-
Bob,
plants-
right in front of
plants
you.
one on him,
Yes.
and he
Tongue and everything.
and he just was like
Okay.
taking it. And I go, I
What's the
love it.
guy to do?
She was running away. I said, no, I'm not gay.
No, you're supposed to join us. Get over here.
I don't want to fight with my friend.
Wait, why didn't you do the Eiffel Tower? It's
No, this was actually this was a gay guy who
there's
did
a
it.
sexual position called the
Yes.
Eiffel Tower. Look it up.
All right,
Oh.
parents, please warn your kids. King is about to go X-rated. Just
going
just
rogue.
warn you. If you're
Just
listening
don't
to
go on
this
Urban
with your
Dictionary.
kids,
Where
you
is the
know,
FCC when we
I know,
need it?
just lock them up for a little while.
When you are in good health, it's a Eiffel Tower. When you are in bad health, it's a tour of Pisa. I'm sorry. But to go back to Rene, so Rene was loved me. So I would go to his, he had a nice bar.
Mhm.
That's where we met.
Yeah.
And I would go in and Rene, oh, Martial. I say, Rene, it's me. And then I would go, look behind. Oh, you brought a bitch with you.
American.
The American bitch. That's how we call her. And that's the night he came and he kissed me.
Wait, hold on. Was that
funny.
the French word beach?
No, my
Biche.
dear.
That's
Yeah,
what
biche.
I call her my biche, which is Biche. That means my dear. And sometimes she will understand my bitch. So I say, no.
And sometimes you might actually say,
Yeah, but later on, in the beginning, you have to be good.
So my biche is my dear
My
in
dear.
French.
As in like venison, deer.
My
That's
oh,
what biche means. So my
Oh,
dear is a
biche.
term of
Literal.
endearment.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
And so that is spelled Biche. So sometimes, so when your friend was saying, he was saying my dear to your girl,
Yes.
or was he
My
saying the
biche.
other one?
I know, for her, he was saying the other one.
It depends on the
In
mood.
English.
He was jealous. He said, you brought an American bitch. And then, of course, we would laugh.
That is so funny.
Don't
Oh
you
my
know
God,
who
so
I am?
funny.
That was Rene.
That's right.
Rene, you know
All right.
who you are.
So
Thunderbird School
8
of
years. Wait, you have kids.
Yeah, so we
You have two kids within
well,
a year of each
well,
other.
before we had the kids, we moved out here to Phoenix.
Oh,
in
that's right. To
91.
go to Thunderbird School of
Went to
Management,
Thunderbird,
which is an
both of us.
amazing school.
Or what?
It was tiny back then.
Camp Thunderbird. It was back then.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
Any
interrupt
idea?
this line of questioning. We were just on a funny topic for a second. I was going to say, what makes Marcial such a good lover?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Oh.
That's a good question.
We were
That's
we
what-
were
It's all-
rolling
yeah,
on
I
the
like
humor.
that. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do your
Because there's a
grandmother
lot of
like
claims
Marcial?
happening.
That's
here.
true,
We
that's
don't know
true.
some details.
That's right. Let's get the ladies.
Well,
moving.
Probably
The
not the
question ought
claims
to
that
go to-
he's making. But you know how you brought up tenacious and persistent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Tenacious and persistent.
Tenacious
Okay.
and persistent.
Yes.
Are
In
Are
all
you
ways.
guys?
Wait till everybody's out
And the
there.
Eiffel Tower,
Are you
not the
listening?
word.
Are you listening? These are big words that you know
Yeah, yeah.
Kinga loves. Tenacious. and
Tenacious, persistent, and does he have a voracious appetite for pleasing you?
Very much so.
Oh, there we
It's like a business card.
So,
When you please your wife,
so what we
There
can
you go.
extrapolate from this is that Frenchmen really are really good lovers.
Live up to the reputation.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, at
There we
least
go.
one we know of it.
All right, I'm on. Can I
Our
book
data
a
sample is
flight to France?
It's like it's that damn baguette in his pants.
100% of the French people I've talked to today are excellent lovers. So that's 100% right now.
so far, yeah.
Wait, Chet, you said something. I missed it.
Too bad. You're
Oh,
gonna be there.
you're gonna have to listen to the
Little
tape.
baguette.
I have to listen to the tape.
Little baguette.
Could I have a little bit more,
Oh, I suppose.
please?
All right, so yeah, let's carry on down the line of the interview then. So,
Okay.
what was the next step after you had kids then? You travel with your kids or?
Yeah, because we used to go back to France every year to see his family. So, you know, traveling with babies, always fun.
Oh, man.
All the way to Europe with jet lag
That's a
and
lot.
everything else.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So, but we went back regularly.
Yeah.
And do your children speak French?
Well, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
The idea was I was going to speak English with them. They
Yeah.
would speak French.
Right.
We would keep it separated that way. But he kept kind of trickling into English as he lived here more.
Well, he needed to
He
practice.
actually preferred English.
Right, right.
So they understand a lot more than they speak.
Yeah, I get that. I get
We can't
that.
really talk about them behind their back because they know exactly what we're saying. They just can't really respond.
In kind,
I love
I
it.
see
I
it.
love it.
Yeah.
We used to talk French
Yeah, a
when we
lot.
wanted to do
So,
something.
Yeah.
so do you guys accept all whoever their liaisons, their boyfriend, girlfriends, situations because of what happened to
Yes,
you?
are you your parents?
Exactly.
Because they went out there a little different in who they chose, and we found ourselves in the position of my parents, and we said, you know what, it's coming back around. So
Oh wait, really?
Karma's
Oh,
we got to be open and accept everything.
interesting.
That's
So
right.
at first, you guys were kind of like questioning if you should accept
Okay.
their.
No.
Well, because I think as a parent, you always have
She was.
That
who you
protection.
picture them with,
Yeah.
who you picture your child
Right.
to be with, but it's their life, and they're
Yeah.
picking who they want to be with. So you kind of have to let go of your
Oh,
ideas.
okay.
I think that's very hard for most parents.
Well, for me,
Very.
I'm usually more on the, like, for example, when Chet's dating somebody,
Yeah,
I
but
usually
you're
stick up for
weird.
the girl, right?
Okay.
I'm like,
That's
oh,
really
that's
a
weird.
bizarre.
and he'll get mad at me and go,
What's
he'll
wrong
go,
It's not normal.
Yeah, you become best friends with Chet's girlfriend, and you start going out to lunch with them more than Chet does.
Wait,
Then
do
there's
you have
an
any
issue.
exes that she is still friendly with?
exactly, exactly.
I guess I don't know. Maybe
She's
I don't really ca-
friends
pay
with
attention.
all
She'll
your
tell you about
exes.
it.
Yes,
She's-
yes. Like they're all friends with me on Instagram. Yeah, they all love me.
This reminds me of his older sister who comes to see us every year. She's even babysat for some of her son's exes, so
Oh, there
she's
you
tight
go.
with
Wow.
both of them.
Cannot
you
let
go.
go.
Can't let go.
No, that's okay.
Kind of
That's all
odd, but
Yeah.
Does that bother you? Are you jealous about it?
No.
right. Not even a little
Is
bit.
there any jealousy in this relationship?
No.
No,
Nice.
no.
Not been jealous.
Are you guys mostly together?
Always.
We're mostly together. We know he's a flirt. You know that from meeting
Yes,
him. He's
yes.
a friend. She can't
Yes.
help it. So
But at
It's
the
in the
same time,
DNA,
but at the
right.
same time that he does that, he keeps complimenting you
yeah.
and saying how much he loves you.
They know.
So-
They know. The girl knows. It's written here.
Yeah.
I'm married.
Yes. Yes.
How much
yeah.
she loves him.
Yeah.
He's such a
Exactly.
flirt. It's like, why don't these women hit on him? And he's like, because it's written all over my face.
No, that makes
Exactly.
perfect sense. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, when you're a man and you're comfortable in your skin
Yes.
and you're not needy, I think women have a sixth sense about that because I find the same thing. I'm deeply in love with my wife.
Yes.
But I like to
Yes.
talk to people
Yeah.
and have a good
Yes.
time. Not
Yeah.
like she does, but
That's another whole level. Yeah.
That's a whole
Yeah,
nother
yeah.
level. But I'm not hitting on them. I'm
Yeah.
No,
just
not
having
at
a good
all.
time. And
Yes.
I've never
Yes.
once, at least recently, thought that that person was uncomfortable or
No.
thought I was
No.
really trying to hit
Yes.
on them or anything because it was just I was just being fun and silly.
And that's how I think you are. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
and that's how I am. I mean, you're just being fun. You're being silly.
because yeah,
but you're
needy,
being a little
needy
bit.
guys
yeah,
is
yeah.
like
He
you
does
might-
get
like a
away with a
neon
lot, though,
sign.
with the French accent.
No.
Oh my
Yes,
god!
he does.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes the people are just so sensitive they'll get offended over anything. So you can't be worried about stepping on those people's
Absolutely.
toes. Yeah, like I was at a concert like a few months ago and I saw these two girls that were dancing in front of me. And I was like, "Oh, your guys' outfits look nice," and they got offended at that.
Why?
You're
I don't
such a
know.
Dick.
I literally don't know. I feel like that's a nice thing you could say to any sex, non-binary,
Mhm.
guy, girl. Like the outfit looks good. How do you get
Yeah.
offended at that?
Because
nowadays
they've
people
had
get
trauma.
offended at compliments.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
true. It's
What can
Really?
you do? Yeah.
What's a guy to do these days? I don't know.
I
It's pretty
don't
tough.
Well, and I was just trying to be friendly.
Yeah.
Like I was already there with a group of people. Like I was just trying to make more friends.
So you're saying that to girls or guys?
They happened to be two girls, but
They were lesbians?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They were just
okay.
Way to
offended
judge.
at a compliment.
Because they were offended.
Judge you.
And well dressed.
Yeah, way to jump
well
to
dressed
conclusions.
ladies who are offended. I mean, come on.
Did they drive a Subaru?
Well, because I'm equally flirtatious or talkative or tenacious or
All of those.
voracious
All of those
or
things.
You're all of them.
Vivacious.
Keep going.
or salacious
Vivacious.
with men
Yes,
and
all
women.
of it.
Oh, with men and
Bodacious.
women, okay.
With men and women.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean,
My favorite dinosaurs were from the Cretaceous.
And what's hilarious, those are all French words, by the way.
I owe you
all
that.
French
All
words,
French
just
words.
poorly pronounced.
You're a good boy here.
Actually, Martin, I have a story with that.
Yes.
Careful when you think that, because they say 40% of English is actually French.
Right.
You just have to repronounce it.
That's
But it doesn't always work. And other people have probably made the same mistake I did.
Okay.
I was talking about food, and eating well and the preservatives in food, so I thought I'll just use the word préservatif, right?
No, préservatif, c'est bon.
By the way, that's a condom in France.
A condom?
I like
It's not a
préservatif.
preservative.
So my dad and
It
my mom
totally
say,
makes sense.
okay, she
Oh my
likes
God.
condoms.
You gotta preserve the
His
condiments.
whole family just starts laughing hysterically, and I'm like, what did I say?
That is hilarious. Are
That's
you
good
kidding
to
me?
know because I did take a little
I
French.
Is that
think
the
it's a
real
common,
thing?
because you have to say un conservateur.
Conservateur.
Okay.
Totally different. So
Yes.
sometimes it works, but sometimes
Sometimes it
it's way
doesn't.
off.
Yes. Yes.
That's hilarious. That is wonderful. Okay, well, I want to learn French because I think it is a very sexy language. It sounds so beautiful and you're just so loquacious. I really love that. I seriously love the French language. I have two sisters that are like, let's take Polish lessons. And I'm like, who are we
Ellen,
talking?
what's the best way to learn French?
Oh.
Oh, that's
Oh, on the
Good
pillow.
question.
Make
Ken.
love to a Frenchman.
Well, they're referring to, I told them a story about a
This is
French
great. This is
professor
great.
I
This is
had
great.
at Thunderbird who talked about the
Thunder
best
School.
way
Wait,
to learn the
say the whole
language.
title of the
This-
school.
So this is Thunderbird, American Graduate School of International
deal,
Management. Now
big
part
deal.
of the issue.
Let me finish. We are handsome, but smart too.
And modest.
We both got an MBA.
And they're financial advisors, and to be continued because we'll be doing a show in a few weeks about their financial advising, how you can become a billionaire.
Well, no, he's a relation. What's the word I'm looking? He's like a
Relationship
mensch.
expert?
No, what's the
A mensch. Oh, I love a mensch.
he's
An
Matchmaker.
expert.
a matchmaker / financial advisor.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes, yes, yes.
By the way, I did want to remind people what my
Yes.
professor said to me.
Oh, yes.
Was
Yes.
the best way to learn a language is on the pillow.
So, we.
We did a lot of pillow
I can
time.
corroborate.
A lot of pillow time.
It's true.
That's
So the
right.
professor, they both were going to the same school that she just mentioned, and he knew that they were married and going to the.
So he wasn't hitting on me.
But he,
That
he
you know
knew
of.
that that's how she learned the
He
language.
wasn't
He was
a
French.
pearl.
He was French.
He was just French.
He was sitting on her
Wait, those are synonyms.
Wait, one of the funniest things you said today was when there was somebody that had a very ripe BO order.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Well, he's gotten
A
into
smell.
trouble a few times because
Yeah.
he'll use his French slang, and we're out places, and you never know where you're going to run into someone who's French.
That's true.
So we were in Costco,
This is funny.
In North
This is funny.
Phoenix.
This is funny.
and he passed by this guy with the cart who just smelled so rank,
Oh,
so
God.
bad. Like you don't smell that here.
Right, he hasn't used deodorant in a minute.
It's a European smell.
Yeah.
And so he tells me in like horrific French slang,
French
watch
slang.
out for this guy.
Smell like shit.
Smells so bad.
And the guy turned around and said, "Oh, you're French too." Oh man,
Didn't even act offended. Not a word.
not offended. He knew he smelled like shit.
Yeah, he knew it.
He didn't mind.
He was just
He's probably
happy.
proud of it.
That's right.
He was casting out a
I'm a
signal
real French.
to other Frenchmen. Say hi to me.
He thought we were picking up his pheromones.
That's right. Oh
man.
my goodness.
It's like the bat signal for Frenchmen.
Yes.
Stinky.
Another time,
So that's a good question for you. Why do the men want to smell ripe like that?
they think it's more macho,
No.
and they don't like deodorant.
You know,
Deodorant for
you
girls.
don't
A
know
lot of
why this
deodorants
is.
are bad for you though, so there is some
Yes.
truth in
Aluminum.
that. Yeah,
Aluminum.
exactly.
That's part of it, but it was also, we all wear perfume and cologne.
Right.
You know that was invented by the French.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Because
that
they
was
didn't like
done
to
because
bathe
they would take a bath like once a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether
Way
they
back
needed
in
it
the
or
day.
not.
Why? Why would they take a
Well,
bath
because
once a
back
year?
in the day, that was before you had water in your home and
That's
you
right.
didn't
Hot
have
water was
plumbing.
Louis
So,
XIV,
perfume.
Louis
Yeah.
XIV.
They would take a bath once a year. How did
Once
they
a
not
year.
get skin rashes?
Oh.
Well, they did have skin
I'm
rashes.
afraid-
That's why they were
Yeah.
living to be 40.
Yeah.
There was a lot of issues back
Life
then.
expectancy has gone up
They didn't
dramatically
understand.
because of personal hygiene.
But talking about saying something in French, and one day yoga, she's teaching yoga, and I'm constantly commenting, "Oh, nice ass" in French. Nice
I
ass.
had my own heckler.
Yes.
Right
there.
as I
I
was
see.
Your
teaching.
personal
I would say
The French heckler, isn't that a type of preservative?
It's a position.
so I was
Oh,
going.
the French heckler.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
The French-
Oh, yeah.
I was going nice boobs, nice ass in French.
In front of the other.
And then the guy
Other
next to
students.
me, Gregory,
You speak.
starts
Wait, are
laughing.
you already married? Hold on, are you married at this time? Are
Oh,
you
we're married. This is,
Oh, yeah,
this is only a
that's-
couple years ago,
too
by the
soon.
way.
So you're married.
Fuck, I forgot he speaks French. So we had a good
He
laugh.
started laughing.
Oh,
So
man.
you're married. She's teaching yoga. You're behind her, checking out her ass and tits.
I'm in the front of the room, and everyone's got their rows of mats, but he always has to be like right in front of me, in front of the other students, making little comments. So,
Trying to crack you up.
yeah.
Chet, you need to
I
do
love
that.
it. I love it.
That's
That's
funny.
work. That's work. She's a very good teacher.
Well, he doesn't want somebody else checking out her ass, so
That's
he's
right.
got to be right behind her.
I'm okay.
Hey, this was like when we were at Thunderbird. We would take. There was an aerobics class. One of the Norwegian students, his wife, who was very good looking, taught an aerobics class.
Okay.
All full of women, except for
Yeah.
him, right? He'd be right next to me. And the guys would be like, what are you doing in the class? And he's like, you guys are idiots. In the class. I got all these women bending over in front of me. Come
I
on.
love yoga classes.
So they all
Are you kidding
started
me?
showing up.
Yeah.
Big joke. Talking about idiots.
Yeah.
Thunderbird has a reputation for Thursday pub night.
Okay.
What it?
Pub night.
They have their
Pub
own
night.
pub like on
Pub.
campus.
Right, right.
Everybody
That
goes
was
Burger night?
Pub.
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 like the
A
British
pub night.
She has a mind of her own. Huh?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
How do you hear
What are you thinking
Urban
about?
pub? Yeah.
Pub.
I just
Herb, what?
verb.
Yeah.
Pub. Like an
Selective
Irish pub.
hearing.
Like I
Irish
said,
pub.
lock the kids up.
So I would talk to Helen. I say, look, Helen.
Those
very
are
simple.
synonyms, by the way.
Because we'd be sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
He's pointing it out to
I
me.
say, Helen, look, American playing the pool,
Drinking, playing pool.
Japanese, Chinese, Asian studying in the pub,
Yep.
and the European flirting with all the
Hitting
girls.
on
That's my guys.
100%.
And it was exactly like
Yes,
Wait, do that again. American playing the pool.
The pool, playing with balls and holes. We like to do the real balls and holes.
Balls and
That's right,
holes.
Americans.
Balls and holes.
That's right.
So balls
Americans
and
just
holes.
like
so
the
somebody-
cheap imitations.
Basketball, football, baseball,
He had a
and golf.
reputation because we lived in there was married student housing, but there were other students there too. So it was kind of in this little courtyard in the middle, and all of the rooms kind of faced each other. He'd come out in his bathrobe, and he would just flash everybody.
I couldn't do that now.
Oh no.
I
you
was-
did.
Whoa, wait, you allowed him to do that?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
No, man.
yes.
And
You
he's
turned
totally
her on.
naked?
Are
totally
you kidding?
naked. Yeah.
I would
You
never
let him flash
flash.
the women?
No,
flashed
not
everybody.
American women, only
The European women.
Because they knew.
They knew, right?
They
yes.
laughed.
Right,
And then
right.
I flashed
They're
my
like,
friend.
"Ah."
My
So
friend
you're
Big
easygoing then. You're easy, so you're definitely not
Joe.
jealous.
She knows who I am.
No, you're definitely not jealous.
So you flashed this big Joe.
Well, wait, this is a good point to bring up.
Joe.
Wait, this is an amazing point to bring
Half
up.
an hour.
Okay. All right,
The
Chip.
fact that you're so accepting of who Martial is so important in relationships.
yes.
Because you see it all the time where people get in a relationship and then one of the people starts trying to change the other person and
Yes.
form them into who they want them to be. And that doesn't work. You need to embrace who that person is, like how you're embracing him being
Yeah.
funny and flashing. That's important because that's how his sense of humor
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so I see that happen. Like I have friends, they're dating girls where they just start changing them and morphing them. And all of a sudden their personality is totally different. And they don't even tell jokes anymore.
Yeti.
Well, you know it wouldn't work anyway.
He is who he is. He's not changing.
Exactly.
And
Right.
you accept someone the way they are.
But
or
some
not.
people can't accept that. So I'm
Yeah.
saying it's great that you accepted that and love that about him.
Well,
Because
I think it's interesting because sometimes people, what attracted you in the first place, you later then start to want to change.
yeah.
And it's like, well, that's what attracted you. So
Yeah.
why are you trying to change it?
Exactly. That's
High
so true.
self-esteem. High self-esteem. That's why.
All right, so
Oh,
36
Exactly. If you're
years.
confident, you don't want to try
As
to
you can
change
tell,
the person.
I always
you
went for the
embrace it.
funny.
That's right.
I love it.
All right,
I
so
love
you guys
it.
have been
handsome.
What do
together
we have?
36 years.
36 years together,
you're-
33
And
married.
so,
How-
what
what?
what
You're at
advice
43
would you?
minutes.
Okay. Okay. Good.
How much? How much time?
We have 10 minutes.
We have
left.
10 minutes.
All right.
10
So,
minutes.
what
Okay.
advice would you give people that are either just starting out or have only been
Mm.
maybe together for a few years? What advice would you give them?
Oh yes, that's a really good one.
Well, I mean, I think what Chet brought up is really important, that the most important thing is you have to accept this person for who they are and not try to change them.
Well, it's good to push people to goals and encourage them to get better, but you shouldn't try to change who they are. It's,
Right.
it's an important line to tread.
But I think you do it by not pushing them to do something, but if you're kind of doing your own thing, like when he backed off, right, when I broke up with him, when you're doing your own thing and you're doing great, that's sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That independence.
Oh,
The
yeah.
yes.
independence, I think, is
No,
really important.
but it's kind of like what you say. So people, I want to announce here on the show, everyone knows this, that our regulars, that you're a love coach, a life coach, a sex coach.
Mhm.
Yesismorefun.com.
Correct.
So you always say if you're in a relationship and something's going wrong, what do? You improve yourself.
Absolutely. You always have to work on yourself. You can't expect that other person to change. You have to change.
Yeah.
And I think that that's extremely important. At least that's what's worked for me.
Exactly, and a lot of people follow their insecurities and then try to change the other person to fit their
100%.
shortcomings.
Because they have some expectation, some judgment, and that always leads to suffering.
Yeah.
So it's so refreshing to see a relationship free of all those, baggage. You guys are just free and loving of each other,
All right,
accepting.
I can't say it's always been like
That's
that
what
for
I- see,
36 years.
I want to
but-
say, how do you fight?
Yes.
All right, so
yes.
because
That's a good
I've
question.
heard
Yes.
this is
is
just
good.
a rumor
This is
that
good,
the
this is good.
French like to fight.
Yes.
That's actually a good thing for you to bring up because that's probably been the most difficult thing for us, the different backgrounds we came from, where my family, everything was
Everyone
pushed under
held
the
on.
rug.
Yeah.
That was my
or
family.
it was talked about in
100%.
quiet. I never saw my parents fight, so
Yep.
I didn't know how to do
100%.
that. And his family was all, in your face,
Talking.
like not talking in a very nasty way.
Oh,
Constant
yeah.
conflict.
No, he called
I
it
bet.
And then
Very
the next day you're
conflict.
fine.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then it's like gone.
Yes.
And I'm like, how is that possible? So he kind of had to learn how to soften a little bit, and I had to actually learn how to do conflict.
Right, how to step up.
How to step up, because I would just completely.
Now, did you go
Withdraw.
I feel like that's a
conflict?
Midwestern thing.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like, a lot of people from the Midwest are so polite, and it's like,
Yes.
how's
When
your
I
day
started
going?
doing-
they're not
Yes.
confrontational.
But,
at all.
but,
Right.
We
but
don't,
hold
we
on,
don't
this
learn
is
that. So he
rude.
would confront
I'm
me,
gonna
and I
be
would
rude for a
completely
minute.
withdraw.
I'm going to be rude for a minute, though. I think people like that sometimes can be passive aggressive.
Mhm.
They pretend to be everything's fine, everything's
Polite
fine,
on
and
the
they're quiet,
surface.
and then they're doing stuff in the
Well,
back.
that's the definition when she said push it under the rug. That,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
really the definition of
different
passive
show,
aggressive.
But it's not like you're doing it on purpose. It's kind of like that's what was modeled. Like
It's almost
that's
like a
what we
culture
knew.
was
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Well-
I had to actually learn to kind of step into that, and he had to, because he used to say to me that the words didn't matter; it was the actions, and I
Yes.
That's what I heard.
had
Well,
to
which
teach
is
him because his
interesting.
parents would say that to him, and
Right.
I would be like, "No, they do matter."
Right.
Well-
But it's interesting. I like when I'm from the Midwest,
Mhm.
grew up here though. But when I started doing business on the East Coast, they have a similar thing where if you don't fight a little bit, they don't respect you. And
Yeah.
it took me a while to understand that and
Mm.
learn that, and then be able to step up to, like you said, you had to step up a little bit
Yeah.
and be a little bit more aggressive. And it's very uncomfortable in the beginning.
Oh yeah, with New Yorkers, you have to be aggressive.
Oh, they won't respect you. And I think it's the same for the French. I think
It
a
is,
lot of
yeah.
European cultures,
Very
it's the
similar.
way that they get out the riffraff very quickly. If you can't take a joke,
Yeah.
why
Oh,
would you
totally.
want to hang out with them?
Yeah.
Oh,
So how
totally.
does Arizona compare to the
Oh, that's a
east
great
suburb
question,
of
Ken.
Paris and Cincinnati and or
That's a good
Cincinnati?
question.
What do you say?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I think Arizona is interesting because there are people there was a lot of people from the Midwest here, so obviously.
Mostly from Ohio and,
And,
Illinois.
but maybe we're the people who didn't
Canada.
fit in there, so we wanted to
There
get out
you
of
go.
Dodge.
Good
I
point, good
absolutely. I think that all the New Yorkers that are here, all the East Coast people, all the Midwest people, is because they didn't fit there. And so, I mean, I've been here since '74. There's been a huge
Oh, yeah.
influx of new people, and they are different because they're all looking for something. They all have the guts to get up and move. Like you were saying, like all my wife's friends and family live within 2 miles of where they were born.
Yeah.
You had to say we're
All my
saying the
friends
same
in high
thing.
school, they like interdated and intermarried and interdivorced,
Wow.
and they're all kind of still in the same
Wow.
group.
You're the
really?
third person we've interviewed this year from Ohio, along with Brody Dunn and Karma Bird.
Yes.
And both of them, when they were
Yes, I
talking about Ohio, they were basically like, "Get out,
That's
Get
true.
out!
get out, do what you
Famously,
can, get out."
there's a famous quote from Mark Twain.
Yes.
He said, "When I die, I want to die in Ohio,
Interesting.
because everything comes
5 or
there
6
10 years
minutes.
later."
Oh, nice.
Oh, I love it.
you had to wait for the
So we
punchline.
are here. So this show, we are here to make people enjoy and laugh and love and just make the world a better place because we're here saving the planet
One
One
show at a time.
We
And
would-
learn. Don't forget learn.
and learn.
We learned a
But
lot
we would
about
like
how
you to
the
sing a song.
relationship works.
I didn't bring the guitar today. because
Okay, can
I
you
was
sing
so
a song
interested.
without
Well,
a
no,
guitar?
I
no. Let's
wanna
finish
talk
with
with
let's
them.
finish
Okay,
up with
okay.
5 more minutes of combo. Like, come
But
on.
we did.
I'll
You said
sing
we
a
have 5
French
minutes.
song. No.
Okay.
Martin, I want to end one more thing.
Yes.
One more piece of advice is
Stick
with it.
Mhm.
I
with
think
it.
people get out too quickly.
Okay, so that's what
Double
we really want to
entendre.
have. I want to have
Uh-huh.
Listen to you.
I want to have your
Right.
5 tips
Yeah.
of if people want to keep a relationship together or they're trying to look for somebody that they want to love, or they're in a relationship.
How about
beginning.
how to keep your relationship hot after 36
Okay,
years?
okay,
How's
there you
that?
go. Yeah, tell us
How's
that.
that?
And
Some
with
tips for that.
kids, because I'm sure that's
I'm
got to
gonna
be
let
an
you talk.
obstacle.
But once they're out of the
My
house,
son's like,
it's a
I
lot
got
easier.
Oh no, they already told us that their kids see that they're salacious and
Yeah.
they're like they always embarrass them, but they don't care. They're
I
like,
talk about sex a lot.
and they don't.
I couldn't tell.
What?
Our kids
Let's
are very
talk about
blasé
sex. I
about
couldn't
it all.
believe
Let's talk
that.
about you.
But I try to do
There
as
you
much
go,
as I
there you
talk. So
Well, I like to say he is French, so they do talk a lot. You know?
What?
Yes, that's true.
come on.
Talkers.
That's because their
Come
language
on.
is so beautiful.
That's right.
I realize one thing. That will be the one thing to remember.
Uh-huh.
The more you ask about sex, the more you get.
Mhm.
So ask a lot.
Oh, see, man, that's a great tip.
Ask
Okay,
a lot
that's
of
a great-
questions.
okay,
That's
all right, hold on.
powerful.
And get them in a good
That's a
mood
great
a
tip
lot.
here.
Because when somebody's in a good mood, it's
The
more likely
wine-
to happen. Yeah.
Cheers.
Get them a gift, get
That's
them
a
a
great
bottle
tip,
of
that's a great
wine,
tip.
and all of a
Colin.
sudden
Cheers to that.
they're naked.
I'm
How
always,
did I get naked?
I'm always naked.
Oh, he needs more. He
Pretty
needs more.
much.
Yeah.
Kids have
Who
gotten
needs
used to
more?
it too.
Me.
Ken needs more.
Oh, a
Colin,
little more.
everybody.
Yeah.
So that's a great tip. That's the best tip I've heard.
Oh man, it's.
That's the best tip.
I have
It's
friends.
true.
I have friends that never
Sure.
have sex, and I said, "But do you ask?" I said, "No." So what do you expect?
Before they know it, it's been
What
10
do you
years.
expect?
Shit, sorry.
No.
Well, that's really stupid because it's true. If you're
If
not,
you want it, you ask them.
because if somebody's not persistent, it's not going to happen.
And Martin, when you say they should get rid of their lists,
Yes.
I'm really tired of these, especially the young girls who have like this list, and the guy
this
has
is
to
what
like
I
check
need.
Check
everything, on the
everything
list.
off, yeah.
Throw the list away. Like just
That's a good one.
you meet
Okay.
them when you meet them. You know.
Okay, you'll be our new love
Be
couple.
open. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're our new love couple.
There we
My
go.
French
grandma
love.
used to say, before you try a pair of socks, before you buy a pair of socks, you have to try them.
There you
So
go.
always have sex before you get.
Try it before you buy it, ladies.
Well,
That's
that was
what
one
we're
thing I was
saying.
trying to touch on earlier, but we moved past it. Like, there's so many byproducts of like the puritanical culture that America was founded on. Like, you find it in the Midwest a lot,
Yeah.
and kind of, or mostly in the Midwest, I would say. But there's like a lot of people that have those ultra
Apparently,
conservative.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Chet, you need to
Oh,
move
that's
over 'cause I
because
don't
the
think you're gonna
South
be in
isn't
Austin.
repressed,
Okay.
Dakota's
So-
not
Yeah,
repressed,
exactly.
Montana's not repressed. You're
So
right.
Chet, you
See,
heard
yeah.
that it was we met the first night. And
Yeah,
actually
it
had
got
sex the
wild that first night. Yeah.
She was wild in the sack, he said.
So I was 21 when I went to Europe, and I did go to Europe as a virgin.
Oh wow.
But he was
That's
number
pretty
2.
conservative.
I was number 2.
Oh,
A little late,
Oh,
but-
you didn't tell us that your number 1 was in Europe too.
I was an Italian guy. Everything for Italians.
All right.
So I got
Yeah.
Italian and French. Perfect.
The Italians set the low bar.
If I was bad, I would say I won. I'm not like this.
So what are more tips? Give us.
Hey,
give
Allied
more.
versus Axis.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
So how do you guys fight? Who says sorry first? Do you guys ever sleep alone when you're in a fight?
Okay, this is where he had to like bring it, scale
Oh,
it
yeah,
back,
yes, yes.
Mr. Confrontation, because
Okay.
when we used to fight and he'd get upset, he's Mr. Grudge, he wouldn't even talk to me for 3 days.
Oh.
So-
Oh, interesting.
And
Really, I think you'd be the type to be upfront and talk about it quickly.
He
Oh.
would get so angry,
He'd
he'd
bottle
hold it
it up.
against me, and then I would just.
Would
I
he
just,
keep
I,
the
you
sex
know
from
what?
you?
Oh yeah, like he wouldn't even talk to me, like nothing.
So if you wanted sex,
No,
he'd say no sex because that's.
I wouldn't even go there.
Yeah.
I learned to
You
You're
just.
knew.
just talking.
You knew.
It didn't matter if I went to him if he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. So I just went about my life,
Yeah, but
did my
now-
thing.
Now it's so easy.
It used to take him 3 days.
Right.
Now it's like
10 minutes
10
Ah.
minutes. It's not 10
Really?
minutes.
on both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's amazing. And
That's a
how
big
did you
deal.
get to this?
Yeah.
Was this through counseling or just working on
No,
it yourselves?
Honestly, I mean, not that I have anything against therapy, but we have never seen therapists. I think
That's
we've
good
been-
because the first therapist that my ex and I saw, they said after a few sessions, split apart.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, this goes
I'm
back-
not
this
good
goes
at
back
this.
to your-
You need to split.
It goes back to your point of stick with it, because a lot of people think that like there's gonna be some magical day in the relationship where they're gonna stop fighting, and that never happens. Human beings naturally annoy each
Yes.
other. It happens. Like,
Yes.
you're gonna get in little skirmishes and arguments. So
That's so
But
true.
it's how
expect
you
that
deal
and
with it.
exactly get through it and evolve. Yeah,
Yeah.
people. Some people think there's gonna be
Small,
some
true.
magical
Yeah.
day that they're gonna get to. There's no
Stop
fighting
liking.
anymore.
That's
It's-
never gonna
Oh,
happen.
he like
It's not-
oh, Chet. He might be hitting
They're
on
fun
you.
too.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
Ahead of the curve.
Like
I am
all my
straight. I don't
games-
go for the bicep.
I know.
Everybody's bicep.
Here it comes.
Everybody's bicep.
The flirting is ramping up. Okay.
Chet, your mom has something to tell you.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you. I'm bi. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, what if somebody slices that? Wait, let's take that part out.
Right after sense of
Let's
humor.
play it
That's
every
because
10 minutes.
everybody's totally thought you were so serious right now. Kingo. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on MSNBC. Newsflash: King is bi.
Oh wait, nobody gives a
I am
shit.
not bi. I am not
Another
bi.
news.
I'm not bi. I like men.
You're tri?
Okay. No.
She goes for the non-binaries.
And you're bi.
She'll go
And
for-
you're bi. And Chet's bi. And you're
No
bi.
labels anymore.
No labels.
But we love bi. But anyway, back to you guys.
Yeah.
Some more tips. We only have how many more minutes? One
One
minute.
minute.
On the last
Make it a
minute,
good one.
what's
No,
the most important tip?
I think Chad was right. There's peaks and valleys in every relationship,
Ooh, yes.
and you might be in the valley for a while.
Mhm.
It's not just a day,
You might live here.
and you might live there for a while. But you
Valley
have to know,
fever.
eventually it's coming back up.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's all about learning how to get out of those valleys as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. It has been such a pleasure. We are in the green room.green. Please check us out. Please like, follow Instagram, Facebook. Also check out Deep Chetty. He's going to be doing some cool shows here very, very soon.
And yesismorefun.com.
Yesismorefun.com. And remember, no is less work.
And remember that love is love is love is love. And when you know, you know, you know. So, do you guys have great makeup sex?
I think they get into
We
fights
fight
just
just
to
to
make
have
up.
sex.
That's what I thought. I would have bet money on that. I would have bet big money that you would have said that. Yes.
What did you say, bitch?
But-
Let's go to bed.
Just gotta get me riled up.
Let's go to bed.
All right.
And we're out.
Saving the
Good
planet
work.
one show
One
at a
show at a
time.
time. Oh my
fun.
God, that was a fun
Chet, do you want to end that?
Oh yeah.
That was really